So one of the most asked question on my channel is about my materials. What are they called, where to get them, how to use them, etc, etc. So I thought, why not let's make a video on it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayush, and in today's video I'm going to share all the materials I use, all of my art supplies, from mechanical pencils to inking pens to coloring markers and so on and so forth. So let's start with the most important tool of drawing, which is a pencil. And for that I am currently using a mechanical pencil, which is this one. It is from Sakura company, and it is of 0.5 size. So I started using this pencil few months ago, and before that I was using HB pencil. And when I was using HB pencil and when I started to use it for the first time, I thought I would not really like it, and I just wanted to give it a try. But since I started using this pencil, I fell in love with its accuracy, the precise control which you have while sketching, and the feeling which you get while using this mechanical pencil. It is more like a modern feeling than as compared to the HB pencil, where you get more of a traditional feeling. But the most important factor which I really loved about this pencil was I didn't have to sharpen it again and again, which I had to with the HB pencil, because personally I didn't really like to sharpen your pencil again and again while I am in between a sketch. And also it feels more professional while using this pencil, and that is why I'm still using it, and I'm still enjoying sketching with this pencil. So that was the mechanical pencil I am using currently for most of my sketches. Now let's talk about the eraser I'm using, which is an electric eraser. It is from Derwent, and it looks something like this. Like I mentioned earlier, it is an electric eraser, so it works on batteries, and I started using it a month ago or 2 months ago, I guess. And also you don't have to move your hand a lot while erasing it, because when you press the button right here, because it's an electric eraser, the tip of the eraser rotates, and because of that you can erase wherever you want quite easily without even moving your hand like this. You just have to touch on the paper and touch on the spot where you want to erase, and it will get erased easily. And that is why I really love this eraser. You can even change the tip of the eraser by just pulling it outside, removing it, and this is the small eraser which you can look at, and you can even change it very easily. You just have to put it back again, and there you have it. You can use it again. And these erasers are replaceable too. I have a few more extra erasers when I bought this in the pack. So there it is. These are the eraser which I got with the eraser. So it's very easily replaceable. Whenever you are finished with one eraser, you can change it easily and replace it and start using it again. Talking about the eraser, there is one more eraser I use a lot, which is called kneadable eraser or charcoal eraser. So it is called kneadable eraser because it is very kneadable. It is like a clay. It is really soft, and you can easily change its shape just by applying some pressure. And it is also very easy to erase with this eraser. The main benefit of erasing with this eraser is when you use this eraser, it absorbs all the pencil lines in it, and it doesn't leave any dust after erasing. It's a little bit sticky, but I use it when I have finished inking and I want to erase all the pencil lines after inking, because it erases the pencil lines and leaves my inking as it is, and it does not fade away as compared to other eraser where you put a lot of pressure to erase the pencil lines and the ink fades away and it becomes more lighter, which I don't want. So that is why I use charcoal eraser for erasing pencil lines after inking. And the charcoal eraser which I'm using currently is from Staedtler company. You can easily get it from online or your nearest art store. And there is one more tool which I use for sketching and comes really handy sometimes while sketching, which is a scale. Yes, a scale. I mostly use it for keeping the right proportions between different body parts, to place body parts where it needs to be. For example, when I'm drawing ears and I have to keep them like parallel to each other and at the same line, at that time I use my scale to keep them in right proportion and to place them correctly. And by the way, this is a very old scale of mine. You can still see there is a stain here, a little stain, and actually this scale is broken. Yes, you can see it's from 9 centimeters to 30 centimeters. Actually, it was a big scale from 1 centimeter, 0 centimeter to 30 centimeter, but then I broke it and it's damaged now. But you know, it's still usable. I always forget to buy a new one because I don't know. I don't remember to buy a new one, new scale, and it's been quite a long time that I'm using this. And yeah, I use this for most of my drawings, but I really need to change it, and I need to get one new one. So these are the basic tools I use for sketching. Now let's move on to the inking tools which I use. So most of the times for inking, I usually use Copic Multiliner, which I guess you all are very much familiar with. I've been using them since a long time now, and they have been really great and really easy to use for my sketching, and they are specially made to work well with alcohol markers, especially with Copic markers, which means they don't smudge away when you use Copic markers or any alcohol markers on top of them. I usually use 0.05 Copic Multiliner and 0.1 Copic Multiliner for inking, and before using Copic Multiliners for inking, I was using Sakura Pigma markers, which again I think you all are familiar with. So the difference between these two markers are, first, Copic Multiliners are comparatively more expensive than Sakura markers. Sakura markers are comparatively cheaper. And the second difference which I noticed was Copic Multiliners are comparatively lighter in weight than Sakura markers. Sakura markers are just a bit heavier than Copic Multiliners. So because Copic Multiliners are lighter in weight, you can move them easily, smoothly around the paper. But it's just a small difference. You can also do some really good inking with Sakura markers too. And now the recent pen which I've been using recently for my drawings is a G pen from Deleter company. I've only used this G pen for I guess 2 drawings, but I have loved inking with this so far. I enjoyed a lot using this. It gives you a very different feeling when you are using a G pen instead of a Copic Multiliner or a Sakura marker. It is very commonly used by professional manga artists, and it's a traditional way of inking, and that is why you also get that traditional feel and the manga feel when you ink with this. So if you are into anime drawings like me, you should definitely give it a try. It's really fun to ink with this, and one of the main reasons why it's so popular among manga artists is because it's pressure sensitive, which means you can change the thickness of line just by changing pressure on the pen. So there are 3 basic nibs which are used with this pen. The first one is the G pen which I am using currently, which is on the pen, and the other 2 nibs are Saji and Maru nib. So the flexibility of each of the nib is different, and that is why you can create different type of lines, different type of thickness and thinness amongst lines by just changing the nibs. But inking with G pen is comparatively more difficult than using a marker. You need a good control over your hand, and because it's pressure sensitive, you also have to be very careful with the amount of pressure you are applying on your hand. But once you get used to it, it is so much fun to ink with. And obviously these pens are useless without their ink, so you have to buy ink separately to use them. And the ink which I am using currently is from the same company, which is Deleter. And by the way, Deleter is a very well-known company which produces variety of products, and it is known for its quality. So this ink is a pure black ink, and there are actually 5 to 6 different types of ink bottles which you get from the same company. Every ink has different characteristics, and the one which I have is the type 4. As you can see, it's written 4 here. So I got this ink because this one was This one was suitable for working with alcohol markers. Once the ink is dry, you can use your alcohol markers on top of them and your ink won't smudge and your drawing won't be spoiled. So if you ever want to try G Pen, I would definitely recommend these products. These are really good. They work really well, especially with alcohol markers. And for the ink, I'm not sure about other inks, do they work with alcohol markers or not, but the Type 4 black ink from Deleter, it does work with alcohol markers and it is really good. So these are the tools which I usually use for inking black lines. But there are some times where I have to ink with colors. When I have to color a lightning, I can't use my black marker or G Pen to ink it because it's the lining of it, it's not black. So in those times where you can't use your black markers to ink, I use these Staedtler Tri Plus Fine Liner for inking, and these are colorful inking markers or inking pens which you can use for coloring in those places where you can't use your black markers. Like I said, for lightning, when I need to color it, I don't use my black marker. In fact, I use my blue Staedtler fine liner to ink, and I also have some other colors like red, yellow, orange. Sometimes I need to color flames. So how do I ink that? I can't ink the flames with black marker. So at that time I use again this Staedtler Tri Plus fine liner. If you are into anime drawings, there are always times when you need these markers for inking where you can't use your black markers and you need colorful fine liners. So I would recommend these markers. These are really good and you should definitely have them. They are very useful. So these are the tools which I use for sketching and inking. Now let's talk about the coloring tools or the coloring equipments I use. There are so many ways to color your drawing. There are so many tools, so many equipments out there to color your drawings. For example, you can use alcohol markers, you can use pencil colors, you can use soft color pastels, and there are also different types and varieties in pencil colors, in alcohol markers, in soft color pastels. It's just matter of preferences and choices. People settle with the tool which they are enjoying with, the tool which they want to color with. Some people like to color with color pencils, some people like watercolors, some people enjoy coloring with alcohol markers like me. So currently I'm using Copic sketch markers for coloring my drawings. This set is of 72 markers and there are a total of 5 sets from A, B, C, D and E, and I'm using 3 sets of them now, A, B and C, after a long journey. Before using these Copic markers, I was using Dutch soft color markers for coloring my drawings. I used them again for a long time and they worked really well for me. I came to know a lot about alcohol markers and this is the first set of Dutch soft markers which I got. I started with 60 shades of color markers because before using these markers I had never used any alcohol marker and I didn't know how they work, how it feels to use them, and I was not sure will I like them or not. So I decided to go for Dutch soft markers first because they are comparatively cheaper, reasonable as compared to Copic markers, and I created some really great drawings by using these Dutch soft markers, which you can also see behind me. Most of these drawings are made with these Dutch soft markers. So that's why they worked really well for me, and I learned a lot about alcohol markers by using these markers. I learned how they work, how to use them, and most importantly, after using them, I realized that I really enjoy using these alcohol markers for my drawings. And after using my touch markers for several months, I switched to my Copic markers. Now again, it's been a long time since I started using Copic markers, and now I can say that I know how they work and I am quite used to them now. I feel much more confident while I am using these markers, and I guess it's because I've used them a lot, and that's what happens when you use and experiment with your tools. Now there are few differences between these markers. Copic markers are much more expensive and more professional, whereas Dutch soft markers, especially these Dutch soft head which I have, are the cheaper one and more affordable. Copic has a brush nib and the chisel tip on the other side, but these touch of markers have a bullet nib and chisel tip on the other side. Now there's a misconception that if you have Copic markers or any best good quality product, then only you can create good drawings, and then only you can draw well, which is not true at all, because you are the one who is drawing, not the markers or not the products, not the tools you are using. Obviously they will have benefits, but it's not like you cannot create good drawings or you cannot draw well if you don't have Copic markers or if you don't have the best products. In fact, try to utilize the resources you have to its best, as much as possible, and try to create the best out of what you have. I've seen so many artists who draw so well and create such good drawings by using watercolors, pencil colors, soft color pastels, and so on and so forth. By the way, I am really bad at using watercolors. I haven't used them a lot, I guess that's why. I also don't enjoy the process of coloring with watercolors. So, like I said, it's the matter of choices, matter of preferences. What you like to color with, what you really enjoy to color with. Once you find out the tool which you really enjoy using, you should just keep using it and enjoy as much as possible. Growth comes automatically. You will grow and get better by time. Okay, moving on to my next art supply which I use. It is Copic Various Ink, which is basically a refill bottle to refill the ink of any particular Copic marker which is empty, and you can refill your marker 8 to 10 times by using this Various ink bottle. So that was all about the color markers I use for coloring, and after using my color markers, sometimes I even use Prismacolor pencils on top of the alcohol markers to give more shades, to give more highlights, to give more contrast to my drawing. I still have a lot to learn how to use these Prismacolor pencils because I haven't used them a lot. Even if you use only Prismacolor pencils for coloring your drawing, you can still create a very good drawing by using these color pencils. Now again, there are different types of sets you get in these, and the one which I have is of 72 Prismacolor pencils set. So I have 72 different shades of these pencils. Personally, till now, whenever I have used these color pencils for coloring my drawing, I haven't really enjoyed using them. I think it's just it just depends on person to person. I just didn't enjoy the process of using these pencils, and I guess that's the main reason why I haven't experimented with them a lot and why I haven't used them a lot in my drawings. I also didn't like the texture which it gives out after coloring. It's not so smooth, and I would personally prefer alcohol markers for coloring. Again, it depends on personal choices and it differs from person to person. I'm not saying these pencils are not good. I know that you can create some really great drawings with these pencils, but I also want to experiment more with these pencils in future, which probably I will. Maybe after more experimenting, I might enjoy using these pencils. And I might like it. With pencils, you also need sharpeners, right? Especially when you're using pencil colors, because there are a lot of pencils to sharpen up. So for that, I use this Prismacolor sharpener, which I got at the same time when I bought the Prismacolor pencil, and it worked quite well. It's still working good. And after finishing coloring, I always give highlights to my drawing to give more depth, and for that what I am currently using is a Uniball Signo 0.7 white gel pen. This one is really easy to use. You just use it like a pen wherever you need to highlight. It has worked really well till now, and if you are into anime drawings, you should definitely have one of these, at least any white marker or a white pen like this, to add more highlights to your drawing after coloring and to give more depth and the final touch-ups. And the last material I have to share with you guys is soft pastels. So again, I got these a long time ago, and they have been really useful. I have used them in a lot of my drawings. Especially I have used them a lot in my Dragon Ball Z drawings for coloring the aura of the characters, and they look something like this. They are usually in block shapes like you can see here. They are really very easy to use. You just apply them on paper and use your finger to smudge them. They are more like chalks, and you can blend these colors very easily with each other just by using your finger, smudging them with each other. They save a lot of time, and at the same time they give you really good results. The one which I have currently includes 20 different shades of these soft color pastels. So these are all the materials which I use for coloring my drawings. But there is one more very important art material which is very much necessary to create drawing, and it is the sketchbook, where you color, where you ink, where you sketch, basically the pages. So this is the one which I'm using currently for drawing. It is from Strathmore, and it is Bristol Smooth. So it is Bristol Smooth, a sketchbook from Strathmore. This sketchbook includes 24 sheets of paper, and the size of this paper is A3 size, and this paper is quite thick and it's almost like a cardstock. Now having a good paper which is suitable for the type of tools which you are using is very important for your drawings. This paper works really good with my alcohol markers. It absorbs all of the ink very easily, and I can do the blending also quite easily on this paper. And there is one more paper which I recently started using, which is called blending card from Express It. So this paper is especially made for working with Copic markers. This is an A4 size paper, and again there are 25 sheets in this bundle. I used this paper for my last drawing, which was Iron Spider-Man, and it worked really well. So if ever you are using alcohol markers and you're wondering what type of paper should I get, or which one I should use for my alcohol markers, I would recommend you to go for these two papers. I have used both of them and they work really good with alcohol markers. So that was all about the paper I use for my drawings, and that wraps our art supplies, because that's all I use for my drawings. I hope this video was helpful. I shared almost everything about all the materials I use, because I get a lot of questions from you guys about my materials. What do I use, what are they called, etc, etc. So I shared everything in this video, and now you know what are the materials I use. And I forgot to mention where I got them. So I buy all my art supplies from two main places. First is my nearest art store, and the second is online shopping, which is mostly from Amazon. If ever I don't get any art supply from my nearest art store, I definitely get it on the online store. So these are the places where I get all my art supplies. If you're wondering where to get yours, you can go to your nearest art store, or you can also go online like me from Amazon. So I guess that covers up everything. If you like this video, do leave a thumbs up and share your views down below in comment section. If you have any queries or doubts, ask me down below and I'll try my best to answer them. And if you're not subscribed yet, then you should subscribe for more awesome videos like these, more art tutorials, Q&As and more. Also, don't forget to ring the bell to get notified whenever I'm on YouTube. You can even follow me at Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at Aayush Pencilart to get my daily updates, and I'll be also sharing their links down below, so go check them out. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye bye.